Well, recently I've written about and talked a lot about the issues of mental health that are affecting our preteen and teenage and young adult grandchildren. And the CDC actually has called this a mental health emergency. I know that you've heard a lot about that. I don't want to focus on that too much. I just want to mention that there are some blogs online, and we've had some Grand Money Night discussions as well, that if you have grandchildren who have been struggling because of post-pandemic things or other things happening in our culture, and you're concerned about them, here are some things that you can do to help them recover and help them find resilience. Now, what I want to say is that these things are probably not appropriate for kids who are dealing with very serious mental health diagnoses or disorders. These would be more appropriate for those of you, many of you who have grandchildren who are struggling with the effects of the pandemic, with the losses they experienced, with difficulties getting back to school and re-engaging and getting up to par to where they need to be and so forth. And what's really cool about this Holy Week is that there are 3 things that we can use to focus on as we disciple our grandchildren and help them actually build some resilience as well. And they all relate to the crucifixion and resurrection and ascension of Jesus Christ. So the first thing I want to mention to you is to remind your grandchildren that they can make the choice to rely on God in good times and bad times, and that He will always be with them. When things happen in this life that are out of our control, it can be really comforting for kids to know that they can put their anchor in the rock of God, and that He will find a way to help them through difficult times, and to remind them that in the anticipation of His death, He called out to God in His suffering, and He did suffer, but He trusted God with His life. Second, you can remind your grandchildren that Christ's death on the cross was a horrible, tortured event. We all know that, but was followed by the most amazing gift in human history. And while we can't compare that gift to other tragedies and things that happen afterward, we can use that as an example to help kids understand that very, very often after a tragic event, good things happen. So you can talk about the fact that accidents may be followed by a healing surgery. The death of one person may lead to a life-saving transplant, or you may find that the lockdown during the pandemic brought families closer together. Certainly we saw that in our neighborhood. So help your grandchildren think of some good things that have come out of the pandemic or other issues that are going on that are affecting their mental health. And you might want to read Romans 5, I think it's Romans 5, 3-5, that talks about the joy in suffering that we experience, and that might help. And then third, remind them that their life is not going to end on this earth, that in fact those who believe and trust and obey God will find full release from the pain of this life in heaven. And tie this to the ascension and talk about Jesus being waiting in heaven to greet all of us. We all need things to look forward to, so you can help them come up with things that bring them joy, that they can look forward to and do. And especially helping other people who are struggling has been found to really be helpful for kids who are feeling maybe anxious or depressed. You would think it might make them feel more anxious, but it actually makes most people feel better. Talk to them about the hope of heaven, which is very different from secular hope. Secular hope says, well, something might happen that is going to go the way that I want to. But biblical hope is the certainty that we as Christians will see the Lord in heaven and spend eternity with God.